The rain fell in thin silver lines outside my apartment. Window on Mars, Colony 7. The colony lights glowed soft orange against the dust storm rolling across the plains. I was finishing my shift report when the door chime rang. No one visited me. I lived alone. I liked it that way. The chime rang again. I opened the door. She stood there, tall, pale blue skin, silver eyes that seemed to hold too much memory. Her clothes shimmered like woven light. I had seen her kind before, but only in classified files and old war briefings. An Aralith, her voice was calm. "Look carefully," she said. "Do you remember me?" I did not answer. I searched her face. The curve of her jaw, the faint scar near her temple. Something moved in the back of my mind. A feeling I had buried. "I have never met you," I said. She tilted her head slightly. "You saved my life." The rain hit harder against the glass. My throat felt dry. "That was a long war ago." "Yes," she said softly. "It was." I stepped aside. "Come in." She entered slowly, studying the small human space like it was sacred. The room was simple. Metal table, 2 chairs, a kettle, a wall screen showing old Earth oceans. I kept that image running most days. She did not sit. "You left before I could thank you," she said. "I was ordered to leave. That is not the same." I remembered. Now the battlefield was a broken moon, orbiting Tau Ceti. The sky had burned red from plasma fire. Our units had been sent to retrieve downed pilots. It was supposed to be a quick extraction. It was not. Her ship had crashed in enemy territory. We found her surrounded by debris and 3 hostile drones closing in. My squad wanted to move on. The mission clock was almost empty, but she was still alive. I broke formation. I carried her over my shoulder while covering fire rained around us. Her blood was bright silver against my armor. I remember thinking she was too light to be real. We barely made it back to the shuttle. She was unconscious when I left, and I never saw her again until now. "You survived," I said. "Yes," she answered. "Because you chose to stop." I shrugged. Anyone would have. She stepped closer. Her silver eyes did not blink. No, they would not. Silence filled the room. The war between humans and the Aralith had lasted 12 years. It had started over territory and ended in exhaustion. No one truly won. The peace treaty had been signed 5 years ago. Many still hated each other. I had left the military after that. "I thought your people disliked humans," I said. "Many still do. And yet you are here. Yes, why?" She hesitated for the first time. "In my culture," she said slowly, "a life debt is sacred. I owe you mine. It must be repaid." I almost laughed. "I do not need anything. That is not how this works." Her voice was gentle but firm, like steel under silk. "I searched for you," she continued. "For years. Military records were sealed. Human systems are difficult to access. You hacked them, yes." I stared at her. "You crossed half the galaxy to thank me." Yes, the simplicity of her answer unsettled me. Humans were not like that. We moved on. We forgot. We told ourselves we forgot. "You should not have come," I said. "Why?" "Some humans will not welcome you." She looked at me with quiet understanding. "Some of my people said the same about you." That hit harder than I expected. I walked to the kettle and poured hot water into 2 cups. My hands were steady, though my mind was not. Tea? I asked. I would like to try it. We sat at the table. She held the cup carefully, studying the steam rising from it. Your species fascinates us, she said. That is new. Last I heard we were considered primitive. You are, she said calmly. But you are also dangerous. I raised an eyebrow. You fight when logic says you should retreat. You protect strangers. You form attachments quickly. You grieve loudly. You forgive slowly. It makes you unpredictable, and that scares you. Yes. I took a slow sip of tea. She watched me. Why did you carry me? She asked. I thought about that. On that battlefield, I had seen many die. Friends, enemies, it blurred after a while. But when I saw her lying there, alone in the wreckage, something inside me refused to leave. You were alive, I said. That was enough. Her fingers tightened around the cup. My people calculate survival probability before risking soldiers, she said. If odds are below 20%, they withdraw. What were my odds? 4%. I smiled faintly. I've never been good at math. For the first time, she made a sound that might have been a laugh. The rain outside softened. I did not come only to thank you, she said after a moment. Of course, there is more. Yes. She reached into her garment and placed a small crystalline device on the table. It glowed with inner light. This is a key, she said. It grants you access to Erelith space, to our worlds, to our knowledge archives. You will be under my protection. I stared at the device. Why would I need that? Because tensions are rising again. The air felt colder between our species. Yes, there are factions on both sides who believe peace was a mistake. I leaned back in my chair. I left the war behind. The war may not leave you. I looked at her. Really looked. You think I can help? I know you can. Why? Because you chose compassion when hatred was easier. Her words stayed between us. I am not a diplomat, I said. You are human. She said it like it was. Enough silence returned, but it felt different now. You remembered my face, she said quietly, even if it took time. I remember carrying you, I admitted. I remember thinking you would die before we reached the shuttle. You held my hand, she said. I frowned. I did not. You did. The memory surfaced slowly. In the shuttle, alarms screaming, medics shouting, her breathing shallow. I had grabbed her hand without thinking. Not strategy, not protocol, just instinct. I looked down at my own hand now. I suppose I did. I said. She stood. I did not come to pull you back into war, she said. I came because I believe humans and Erelith can be more than enemies. And you think I am the bridge? Yes. I walked her to the door. The storm had cleared. The Martian sky was dark and wide, filled with stars. You found me after years, I said. Yes, that is stubborn. Her silver eyes softened. We learned that from you. I exhaled slowly. When do we leave? I asked. A small smile touched her lips. Tomorrow, I nodded. For years I had tried to forget the war, to shrink my world down to one quiet apartment and an endless image of Earths, oceans, but humanity was not built to stay small. We crossed oceans once because we were curious. We crossed space because we were restless, and sometimes we carried strangers through fire because we could. She stepped into the night. Look carefully, she said once more. Do you remember me? This time I did not hesitate. Yes, I said, and for the first time in years, I felt like the future was not something to fear. It was something to walk toward. Asterisk,